I got some tea to spill, so if you're ready to chill, take a Jill pill.
What's up? Welcome back to Take a Jill Pill. This is Jill speaking. Hello, how are you? Glad you're here. I really am glad you're here. I mean that genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I hope you've had a good week. I had a pretty good week. I was in Nashville for most of it and just kind of recouping from that. Like, I don't travel as much as I used to, and I'm tired. You know, I got home super late one night and I'm like, wow, I'm so old. When you get home like after 1 a.m, I'm like, it takes me days to recover. So anyway, I'm recording this on Mother's Day. I'm like right on the edge. I almost didn't record it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm like on the edge of my emotions a little bit, just because Mother's Day, I know this is true for a lot of you guys. It's just a mixed emotion holiday for many people for a lot of different reasons. You could not have your mom anymore. You could have a complex relationship with your mom. You could want to be a mom and you're not. You could have kids that are estranged. There's so many different things that like can make Mother's Day weird. And also so many things that can make it great. So I really thought this year, I was like, oh, it's Mother's Day. And for those of you who don't follow this, my mom has dementia. She's in a nursing home. And so it's just like a complex situation for me. She knows who I am kind of, but you know, it's just different. So I've been dealing with this for several years now. So I kind of thought, oh, Mother's Day will be fine this year. I'm not really thinking much about it. It'll just be what it is, another day. But it still gets you. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking I would be zero emotion today. And then I'm like just more emotional than I want to be, you know? So anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I don't need to talk more about that. But anyway, I hope everyone had a good weekend, a good Mother's Day, whatever that means to you. So I was in Nashville. Part of why I was in Nashville is my goddaughter, Gigi, who you've heard on the pod. She was graduating from preschool, which, you know, I don't remember if I graduated from preschool, but it's a big deal now, guys. Like cap and gown, you know, the caps and gowns and the whole ordeal, which is probably the most adorable thing you could ever see. But I went down for that and it was special. It was really fun. I also took her to Chuck E. Cheese and her brother to Chuck E. Cheese as like a present. And people, you know, parents are always like, I hate Chuck E. Cheese and it's like the worst place. And I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of fun, but I get it. I do get it. It's a little chaotic in there, but I like feel like a kid at heart because I'm like, let's go play skee ball. You know what I mean? I love skee ball. I like Chuck E. Cheese. It's a little loud and obnoxious, but I'm a game person. Like I like the hoop shoot and collecting the tickets at the end. Like I still get excited about that. Like I'm a kid. So actually I don't mind Chuck E. Cheese. And their pizza's not that bad actually at Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know how they do it, but Chuck E., man. Chuck E., we don't have a Chuck E. Cheese up here anymore. And we used to when I was a kid. I don't know where it went. So I love Chuck E. Cheese. What can I say? Okay. I do have something I've been dying to share on here for the last couple of days because it has to do with ants. And I know that the last few weeks we've talked about ants, you know, aunt versus aunt, but I made sort of a big deal out of it. And now, guys, I really think the ants are out to get me because I was attacked by fire ants when I was in Nashville, and I'm not even kidding. So let me tell you, we're at Gigi's soccer practice, okay? And Kate and I are getting the kids out of the car and like all the stuff, like chairs and whatever, to go watch the practice. And we see this kid riding an e-bike in this park. We're at like a YMCA parking lot. It's very busy. It's a Friday afternoon. It's just crazy in there. And there's this kid on an e-bike doing papa wheelies like down the parking lot rows. And both Kate and I were like, that is so unsafe. This kid is going too fast. He doesn't have a helmet on. Like it's dangerous. We both noted it. And you know, those e-bikes go fast, man. Have you ever ridden one of those? They're actually fun, but they're really not to be ridden in a parking lot, you know, and also like it was just very dangerous. So we're getting all the stuff. I'm holding Ryland. He's 3. I'm holding him. Kate's getting stuff out of the car. And all of a sudden we hear this massive thud, like crash. And we like run over to see it. And a huge pickup truck with like a lift. I mean, I'm talking, this was like I don't know if it was like a Ford F-350 or something. It was big. It was lifted. And then this e-bike, this was a different kid on an e-bike, but it was the same e-bike. So they were like taking turns doing these laps around the parking lot. They collided. We don't know if the truck hit the bike or if the bike hit the truck. But the kid flew off the bike. The truck, I mean, it was the loudest noise. There was a hubcap on the ground. The kid's bleeding. Kate and I are the first ones on the scene. I'm holding the baby. Well, he's 3, but I call him a baby. And we run over, and Kate, before I even know it, she's on the phone with 911. And the kid, we were like, don't move. Don't move. The truck stops. He pulls around. It's a kid driving the truck too, like a teenager. The kid who's on the bike, or off the bike now, is on the ground bleeding. And he's like, we're like, don't move, don't move. And he's like, no, I'm okay. And you can see all this blood on his leg. And he's like wincing in pain. And we're like, don't move. And Kate's like, I'm calling the ambulance. And he's like, it's not necessary. And he's like freaking out. The driver comes over. And then all of a sudden there's all these people around. Kate's on the phone with 911. Ryland's just like, kind of like, what's happening? And I'm standing in the grass, just trying to be like, you're going to be all right. Like, whatever. It all happened so fast. Anyway, all of a sudden, the ants come into play. Okay. Just a second. All of a sudden, my feet are on fire. I have flip-flops on. I look down at my feet and they are completely covered with little tiny fire ants, like hundreds of them. On my legs, on my feet and ankles. It feels like they're burning up. And I'm like, oh my God. There's just so much chaos happening and I'm holding the baby. So I like run across, I like give the baby to Kate and I'm like running away and I'm like trying to get all these ants off my feet and they're itching so bad. Like it feels like fire. That's why they call them fire ants, I guess. I mean, and guys, I'm talking hundreds of ants, hundreds of them. They were covering my feet. Anyway, I get them all off and I'm like, this is unbelievable. My feet, I'm about to get on an airplane too. Like I was boarding a plane in like 2 hours to fly home. And I'm like, my feet are killing me. This poor kid, he's all right, but he's like bleeding and the ambulance arrives. It's just pure chaos. So we finally like make our way over to watch the soccer practice. And I'm just like itching my feet. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, Kate was like, I have to tell you, I hadn't thought about this yet, but she's like, the ants are out to get you because of you made fun of the ant funeral on your podcast. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. The ants are after me and they got me. And I had to so anyway, I get them all cleaned up. I don't have any we're at a park. I don't have anything to put on it. I mean, they're fine, but they're just kind of like red and inflamed, my feet. So anyway, I call the Uber if soccer practice happens. I'm just like itching, scratching them the whole time. Like it's like having chicken pox or something. And I was like, so I put my sneakers on because I'm not going to fly in my flip-flops in case anyone was wondering. I mean, I have before, but I'm not going to do that. So I put my sneakers on and then for the whole plane ride, I was just like, you know, when something itches and you can't scratch it, and you can't, but I'm on a plane and it's my feet. So I can't be like reaching down to my feet the whole time. And I'm just going like, I'm sorry, ants. Like, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you, but I feel personally attacked. Anyway, it was like the most miserable flight. It really wasn't a bad flight other than my feet were burning up and like red and inflamed. And anyway, I don't know, maybe I'm allergic to the fire ants or maybe that's just what happens. I don't know, but guys, when I tell you hundreds of ants on me, the tiny little ones, and I had like red bites, it was the grossest thing. And I'm sorry, I'm going to offer a public apology to the ants. I feel like personally they should be on my side because I'm defending their name. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are ants, and then my mother's sister, that's my aunt. I'm trying to defend your title. There's no need to attack me here and get into some kind of war. But I understand that I mocked you with an Instagram post of an aunt's funeral. And so anyway, I'm just sorry. I just would like to publicly apologize to the ants. And please do not attack me again, okay? Because it was miserable. I just thought you might appreciate that story. The ambulance came, they took him to the hospital, the kid. I think he kept complaining about his groin. This poor kid was like 16 years old. And he's like, my groin, I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh no, like that's so embarrassing. And I'm sorry. Like we're fine. We don't care. We're not worried about, your groin. But like it was just, we're like old ladies to him, and we're like calling the cops, and I'm sure it was just not. Anyway, They brought this huge tow truck, lifted like 20-foot tow truck, and towed the e-bike. I mean, it was a very bizarre situation. I don't know. But I will say those e-bikes, I don't know how it all played out in the end. I think both people were at fault. Like, I think the driver was going too fast and the e-biker shouldn't have been doing that. But those are scary, man. People are flying on those e-bikes. And if you hit something and fly off of it, like, it's super dangerous. So not to be like the party pooper here, but I don't know. I'm not a big e-bike. I'm not a big fan of the e-bike, at least in those situations. Like if you're on a road where there's like in a bike lane or something, a shoulder to do it. Otherwise, it's like kind of dangerous. I don't know. It makes me nervous. Like I was like, bubble wrap your kids, everybody. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Okay. Just needed to tell that little story. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going to happen in this episode. It's going to be a little hodgepodgey today. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about travel with airlines and like the cruise ship thing. I got to get into that just a little tiny bit, not too deep, but that's definitely something. And then I want to talk about public scandals and how we as average people weigh in on public scandals and how we love them, kind of. I want to talk about a few specific ones. And then we're going to have top 5 obscure holidays, okay? Because we just had Cinco de Mayo. Spoiler alert, that makes the list. And I want to talk about like fun holidays that aren't your standard ones. So they're my top 5 obscure holidays. And then we'll do some listener questions and we'll take a Jill pill as always. So that's how it's going to go. All right, let's roll. Did you like that? I did a little transition music as requested. I hope that was okay. I might switch it up. I don't know. I'm going to test the waters, you know. This is episode 13, but I still feel very new to this. So we're still learning how Take a Jill Pill works, you know. There's no set way that anything goes other than it's pretty unhinged most of the time. Okay. I want to start by talking about this cruise ship situation, okay? I'm not going to get into the political side and like the scariness of another pandemic because I can't go there right now. But cruise ships in general are just like, there's so much weird stuff that happens on cruise ships right now. And it makes me just I have been on one cruise in my life. And I've played on cruise ships with other artists, but those have been like docked cruise ships. I haven't actually gone out on the water. But the only cruise I've done, we took off from Spain and we did like Northern Africa in January. So it was not my favorite holiday. I think I could appreciate like a tropical cruise, but I don't know, guys. You see all of these things that happen. It's either like the poop cruise. Have you seen that documentary? It's, they're just like, everyone gets sick on a cruise. And I don't love that because like there's nowhere to go. And that just makes me, I don't know, I'm getting claustrophobic thinking about that. And then there's a lot of stories of people dying on cruise ships or going missing. You know, there was a documentary recently about the woman that went missing on the cruise, or I think her name was Amy. And then people fall off and they're just in the ocean. That little kid fell off and that was weird and sad. Or, I feel like people that work on a cruise ship, no offense if you do, they're often in like sort of a time in life where they're kind of like figuring things out, like I'm going to go work on a cruise ship for a year and just like figure it out. I love that for you. But I feel like the stability is maybe a little not completely there for like the staff on a cruise ship. That's a judgment, okay? I hear myself. But there's a little truth, I think, in that stereotype, as there always is. So I don't know. I just feel like this whole thing happening with the cruise ship and the virus, and now they're taking all these people that have this new virus that's very scary, and they're putting them on the Canary Islands or something. I'm trying not to read too much about this, to be totally honest with you, because I can't do another pandemic just like the rest of you. So let's just not even go there. But I did just want to say, I don't know that I'll ever go on a cruise ship. I know that we talked about a Take a Jill Pill Alaskan cruise early on in this season, okay? That I've never been to Alaska, and we talked about doing a cruise to Alaska as Take a Jill Pill. I know we kind of just touched on that. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Maybe we just go to Alaska, okay, and we have a little retreat there. But I don't know that we're going to be doing it on a cruise ship because after this last story, I'm done. I'm done thinking about a cruise. My friend is going on one this summer. If you're listening, my friend who's going on one in the summer, are you still going? I'm going to have to ask you about that. I mean, they're probably fine. It's like anything. It's like even flying. It's like you hear all these stories, but most of the time the flights are fine. I've been on a million airplanes and I've flown so many miles and nothing's ever happened that's been like traumatic, really. I mean, there's some turbulence and things like that, but you hear these stories and especially like, okay, I really noticed it this last time I was flying just a couple days ago when my feet were burning up from the ant bites. Are they bites? What are they doing? What are those ants doing? Are they biting me? Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I used to always, when we would land, that was like, as soon as you touch down, I know you're not supposed to, but I would like take my seatbelt off and be like, all right, I'm here. I'd text whoever is picking me up or whatever. But that recent thing where the planes collided on the runway, where was that? I don't know where it was, but it was only a few months ago. And it was like after they landed and it was this huge crash and just terrible. And you think about how fast you're going when you're taxiing, you're going wicked fast. And if you hit anything, yeah, it's going to explode. So I'm very anxious now. I used to be like, okay, any anxiety I had, as soon as you feel the wheels touch down, my anxiety's gone. Not anymore. I almost feel more anxious when we're going that fast on the ground because I'm like, where's air traffic control? Are they getting paid right now? Are they not? What's happening? You know, I used to just not be afraid of flying and I'm not really afraid, but I do notice my anxiety is higher now. Oh, and there was even the other day, it was like the day I flew or the day before, I don't know, a plane in Denver, I think it was Frontier Airlines, it said it hit a pedestrian on the runway. I'm sorry, what kind of pedestrians are on the runway? The only people who should be there are workers, like the people who are guiding the airplane in. What do you call those things? You know what I'm talking about? I guess it's like the ground crew or whatever. So those people are out there, but there's not just pedestrians. Like, why wouldn't you say they hit a ground crew? Were there just people walking around out there? Something about that language didn't sit right with me. There have just been too many air accidents recently where I'm like, luckily, I don't fly as much as I used to, but I don't know. I'm just like losing interest in flying. It's just scary. Anyway, it's fine. And most of the time it's fine. But these little stories are just kind of like, it feels like it's getting less safe, where it feels like it should be getting more safe. Anyway, I flew Southwest, which I've flown forever. I mean, I used to kind of judge Southwest when I was flying a lot for touring because we would fly like American or Delta most of the time. I just didn't fly Southwest. But then I made the switch to Southwest because they fly direct from Boston to Nashville for one thing. And you can change your flight. You got free bags. The seating was a little weird, but if you were in a good rhythm or if you had A-list or anything, like you could get a good seat and guarantee it. And it just felt like I knew Southwest. I knew how it worked. It was good. Recently, you may have heard, if you're not a traveler, this is probably like blah, 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 blah to you. But if you fly Southwest, you're going to know what I'm talking about. They've changed everything, okay? You don't get the free bags anymore. They do assigned seating now. And if you don't want to have a middle seat, you have to pay extra to make sure you get a window or an aisle. I'm going to go with the window for myself. But it's an extra, like, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks. I know last week I said I will pay for not having the middle seat, and I will. I don't have a problem paying for the convenience, like I said. But I didn't ever have to do that before with Southwest. And nobody knows what's happening. And then you get on the plane. I don't love checking bags. I feel like it just takes up too much time. So if I don't have to, I won't check a bag. But then you get on the plane and everybody's put their bags up. There's no order to how you're getting on the plane. And so all the space above is taken and everyone's just like doesn't know what's happening. And it feels like a total chaotic mess. And I just am like mourning the loss of the ease of Southwest. You know what I mean? I know that I could get the credit card and guarantee like free bags or whatever, but I don't really need the credit card. You know what I mean? I might just get it for this because I do fly kind of still a lot, but I don't really want to get another credit card just so that I can have free bags on the flight or like pick a seat. I probably will though, guys, but I don't want to. I don't like it. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's just my rant about Southwest. I think I'm just getting old because travel used to be nothing to me. And either it's changed. Now you need to weigh in on this. Am I just getting old and like grumpy old woman right now? Or has travel gotten worse in the past 10 years? Like, be honest with me, because if I'm just getting grumpy and I'm becoming, you know, like ranty old lady, then I need to fix that because I don't want to. So just call me out on that if that's true. But I do think travel has gotten more difficult. I don't know. Okay. Thank you for putting up with my rants. I know that they're ridiculous, and it's just who I am. It's who I am at my core. I love a good rant, All right. Here's a situation I want to talk about today, you guys, because I just listened to the Oprah podcast with Kristin Cabot, who is the woman who was in the Coldplay kiss cam video, or whatever you want to call it, when they scanned the audience and they caught that couple. They were like embarrassed. It was the most viral video of last year. You know what I'm talking about. Chris Martin was like, they're either having an affair or they're really shy. And it blew up, and she was the head of HR and the guy was the CEO of the company. And they were like apparently caught in this affair or whatever, and it went super viral. Oprah just had her on her podcast to tell her side of the story. She really hasn't done that yet. And so I know it came out a few months ago, but I just listened to it. And I want to talk about it for a couple reasons, okay? Number one, I'm just interested in situations like that and public scandals where people weigh in. It becomes like this viral moment for everyone else. And I want to kind of talk about, why do we care so much, and why do we get invested in these people's lives that we don't know? Whether they're usually it's celebrities, like Britney Spears, someone like that. And we all like weigh in and post about it and talk about it and comment and make memes about it. But then this one, like, these aren't famous people. I mean, they were at Coldplay and that was part of the whole story, but the people are not famous, and they got ripped for this whole thing, especially her. That's one reason I want to talk about it. But the other reason I want to talk about it is because this woman lives in my hometown, and I drive past her house every single day because I have to pass it when I go to see my mom. So it's kind of like a story that it's been so interesting in general, but it's been super interesting to me because I don't know her. I do know people who do know her, but I don't know her. But like, I have seen her out on her porch. Like, I do feel like a personal connection to it in that weird way. And also, I was all in on the memes of that. Like, I probably sent a bunch of you guys who are listening memes when that was happening because they were so good. I have never seen such good memes in my entire life. One of the great parts of the internet and memes and stuff, it's given people who are really funny this outlet to like create memes and create viral things on the internet. And it's like, I love that stuff. That's like what I'm about. However, it was at the expense of these people. And I really didn't think about it like that, honestly. You kind of feel like, well, they deserve it. They got caught or whatever. But if you listen to this episode where this woman, Kristin, is interviewed by Oprah, she tells more of the story. And it's like, it's not, according to her, it's not exactly how it appeared. And she took a wicked hit. Like, she had to resign from her job and go into hiding. I mean, the only reason I know where her house is because it was on like the Daily Mail or the New York Post. And I was like, oh my gosh, I drive past that all the time, And so it caused upheaval in her life. And she has kids that are like in high school. And listening to this episode, I gained a lot of empathy for her. And I want to talk about that and talk about like, why do we as humans unite over like someone else's downfall? Why does someone else's failure or embarrassment like make us all come together and laugh at it? I don't know. And I love humor. And so like, I can appreciate the humorous side of it. And I think she actually could in a way. But at the same time, hearing her story and hearing what she went through, I almost felt like I owe her an apology. And I don't feel like I really do because I don't know her. And I wasn't like making fun of her as a person or anything, but I got a lot of joy out of that situation. I really truly did. And then I did drive past her house. I'm not like going in there and like knocking and trying to get a story, but I look every time I go by there, and I don't know. I'm feeling really bad about it. And I think what it is when you realize that someone is a human, they're not just a meme on the internet, it does kind of change your perspective. And I think we all fall into it. It's just like, whether it be a celebrity or not, if there's something funny or viral going around, it's easy to forget that there's a human on the other side of that who, even if they made a huge mistake, doesn't necessarily deserve that kind of attention for it. You know what I mean? And I've only experienced that a little bit on the other side of it. Like when we were working for a country artist, we were touring and there was a big scandal with all the guys in the band remarking on some body image issues with Kate and me. And there was a text that was sent and they tried to get me to go into Kate's phone and erase it, which I didn't do, obviously. Basically, they were criticizing our body image. So Kate ended up writing a blog about it. We wrote a blog on our Jill and Kate page about the whole situation. And just as women, this was right before the Me Too movement really took off. And we wrote a blog about, what it's like to be a woman in this industry, first of all, or just to be a woman in general, and have to face these issues of body image and be in an industry where it is all male centric. And we just wrote a lot about what that experience was like. And the blog got picked up. And when management and the artist that we were working for, this is a male country artist that shall not be named, but when they found out we wrote this blog and posted it and told the story, it made them look bad. And so they asked us to take it down, and we're like, no, we're not taking it down. Kate was like, no, I'm not taking that down, because this is what happened. Like, you guys did do something bad, but we're just sharing this because women and young girls especially are our main audience, and we want to encourage them, like, this stuff can happen to you. It doesn't have to take you out. Well, anyway, we didn't take the blog down. We ended up getting fired. Then we ended up in like a legal situation. The Washington Post called us and wrote a big story about it, and it went, I wouldn't call it viral in the way of this, but it became a story that was not pleasant for us to go through. It wasn't pleasant to read people's comments on the Washington Post or the other sites that picked it up, and they're talking about us and saying most people are supportive, but a lot of people say really mean things, or tell us we're never going to work again in this industry because we wouldn't, just shut our mouths and whatever. So we had a very small taste of what this was like, to be in the limelight and to be made fun of or critiqued or just in a spotlight you didn't want. And so I do have a little tiny bit of experience of that. And yet I'm still someone who, I love a viral moment like this. I love to weigh in. And there's like another one going on right now with the coach of the Patriots, Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, and they got caught in this affair, whatever you want to call it. And it's just very easy to like mock and make fun of. And if you haven't listened to Oprah's podcast with this woman, it's actually really interesting. And she comes off very humble, in my opinion, and she owns the mistakes she did make, but she also clarifies the story in that what everyone was assuming about them wasn't necessarily what was true. But you don't have any control over that. I think it was something like 300 billion views on this story. It was a crazy story, and this poor woman is going to have to deal with that. She thought it was going to blow over, and it really didn't. I mean, even to this day, what I'm talking about. Everyone knew that story. And so, I don't know, I've just been thinking a lot about that this week it's very easy to just make judgments on situations that we don't really know anything about. And I've been feeling bad about it. I've been feeling kind of like, yeah, it was fun to see all the memes, and I sent them around, I laughed, and I got a lot of entertainment out of that. But at the same time, I do feel bad for her, and I feel bad that something like that can literally change the trajectory of someone's life. She talked a lot about how like women were the people who were most mad at her, and about how she became this person who other women hated because like if you've ever been cheated on, like she was the woman your husband cheated on you with, sort of in everyone's mind. And I get that, but also that kind of attention and negative attention, and for her kids and stuff too, can really drive people to a place that's not great. And so I guess all I want to say about it is it opened my eyes a little bit this week to empathy and to being like, okay, even someone who's done something terrible or made a huge mistake and we're all kind of making fun of them for it. It made me kind of just be like, it's just a good reminder that everyone's human. And I know we like to see other people fail for some reason. If it makes us feel better about ourselves, I don't know, or when celebrities do it, it makes them feel more human, and relatable in a way. And public failure is just so intriguing. I don't know, it's just so intriguing to watch. But we're all people, and we all screw up. Some of us have it on a big stage. Some of us have it in our personal lives. It just made me have a little more grace and empathy, I think, listening to that interview. So I would recommend it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Oprah. I know it's kind of an obscure podcast, the Oprah Winfrey podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but look it up. I bet you can find it. And check it out. I think you'll like it. I did get to go on Oprah once when I've gone to Oprah twice. Once I went in the audience. Maybe I was in college, I think. Maybe when we were in Chicago and I went to sit in the audience for Oprah, hoping I was going to be at one of those favorite things shows. Do you remember when those were big? So Oprah would give away like, you get a car and you get a car. And Kate and I forget who else was with us, but we went to the Oprah show thinking we were going to be on a favorite things show. And we get in there and it was like the B show that day. And it was like this little girl who was allergic to the sun. It was like the most depressing episode of all time. This poor little girl it was just so depressing. And I was like, oh man, I really thought I was going to get a car or a trip to Australia or something. So that was disappointing. And then the second time I went to Oprah, we were playing with Kelly on Oprah, which was pretty darn cool because it depends how old you are. But if you were about my age or if you grew up in the 90s, Oprah was on every day at 4:00 and I would always watch. It was we did Ellen a bunch of times too, but for some reason, Oprah was so much more epic to me to be able to be on that show. And we only got to do it once and it was right before her show ended, I think. So that will always be I know she's still doing a lot, but the Oprah show was kind of the first talk show that I remember just kind of falling in love with daytime TV. And that's it. I just want to talk a little bit about that. So that was one of the coolest things I ever got to do, probably. Anyway, go listen to the Oprah podcast if you've never heard of it. All right, let's move on. Last week, it was Cinco de Mayo. And I love Cinco de Mayo because I don't know anything about it. I'm going to be honest here and I'm just going to tell you, I don't know what it's about. I should look this up because it's making me sound terrible, but I don't really know why you celebrate Cinco de Mayo. All I know is it means it's a great excuse to have guacamole, margaritas, salsa, Mexican food. You know what I mean? Like a Mexican party, fiesta. I know that makes me pretty shallow and I'm sorry if this is offensive, but it's true. I don't know why it's a great holiday, but I love it. And we had a big not a big party, but we had a Cinco de Mayo little party, great Mexican food. And I was thinking there's some great holidays out there that are not the biggest holidays. There's Christmas and Thanksgiving and all the big ones, but there's so much pressure around those holidays. And I want to share my top 5 obscure holidays that are sort of underrated. They're great days and there's not the pressure of you got to travel to see family you can sort of just have a theme party and it's just for fun. So here are my top 5 obscure holidays that I like to celebrate zero pressure. Okay. Number 5, Super Bowl Sunday. I know it's not really a holiday, but it kind of is. They should give you that Monday off because let's be honest, nobody's feeling great the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday, but it's just a great reason to have a party, to have a lot of food that you wouldn't normally eat, like dips and, snacky stuff, some good drinks. You can do gambling on the game, whether you care or not. And then there's the halftime show, which is usually pretty entertaining. The commercials, which are usually pretty entertaining. So even if you don't like football, there's something for everyone. I almost prefer, and now I know I'm a New England Patriots fan, and so people are going to be mad at this, but I almost prefer Super Bowl Sunday when my team is not in the Super Bowl because when they are, you do really care about everything. And I know people are like, oh, it must be tough. You know what? It's a different kind of tough, but it's a little more relaxing when you don't really care about the game. So anyway, I love Super Bowl Sunday, whether we're in it or not. I love it. Number 4. In obscure holidays that I love. February 29th, Leap Day. Okay. I think it's so cool and weird that there's just every 4 years, there's a February 29th. I don't really understand the math behind it. I don't understand Leap Day in any way, really, but I love it because it's just different. I've always been super intrigued by people who were born on February 29th. You are special. You are the most special people on the earth if you have a February 29th birthday. I had a friend who was pregnant and her baby was due right around then and it was a leap year. And she scheduled her birth to not fall on the 29th because she didn't want her kid to have to have the every 4th year thing, which I totally get. But I would be I think it's so cool to have. I was if they do end up being born on the 29th, that's pretty cool, actually. I can understand as a kid you're like, birthdays are kind of a big deal. So, but I love leap year. I love the idea of it. I don't know why, it just intrigues me. Okay. Number three is Cinco de Mayo. I've already told you why. It's really about the food and drinks. There's nothing else. It's a good excuse to have like fun music on and just colorful banners and a margarita. I will find any excuse to have a margarita, to be honest. So Cinco de Mayo is a great one. Number 2 in holidays that I love, this is not really obscure, but I love 4th of July. I know it's a big one, but it's not a high pressure one. It's like everybody's off work. Usually the weather's good. You can go to the beach or the lake. You can have a party, do Jello shots. And like I'm not a huge, I feel like I've come off like a lush, but I enjoy an alcoholic beverage. I mean, what's wrong with that? Okay. But 4th of July, it's like hot dogs and the cakes that you make that look like flags. It's just festive and fun, It's a great holiday. I love the 4th of July. Okay. And my number 1 obscure holiday that I love is St. Patrick's Day. And it's not just because it's the day before my birthday, because that is true. But I love St. Patrick's Day because everyone is just out to have a good time. The green, it's very simple. You wear green. That's very easy to do. You can decorate with green. You get clovers. I have a clover tattoo. I like the Irish. I like the whole vibe of St. Patrick's Day. Everyone's just like enjoying it. There's zero pressure. And it was fun to have my birthday around St. Patrick's Day, especially as I, was 21, because people just want to party on that weekend, And so and I being an introvert and not like a huge birthday attention person, it was nice because it was like, it's not all about me. It's like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day and it's my birthday too. So I get to see everybody and we have a good time. But the pressure's not on me to be like, it's my birthday though. So like, it's just St. Patrick's Day, I love that. I like it. I don't know why. I just think it's fun. And there's no pressure. It's over and then it's over. You don't have to buy people presents. You don't have to like have any certain special turkey dinner. You just have a Guinness, and I don't drink Guinness, but you know what I'm talking about, all right? You eat green things, you wear green clothes, you drink green drinks. It's so simple and it's fun, okay? I think that's like the bottom line of all of these holidays. They're just low pressure holidays because some are just so high pressure. Christmas, you got to get all the presents. Thanksgiving, there's family drama. Valentine's Day, it's like, I don't know. I just think these are low pressure holidays and I'm a low pressure person. I don't like high pressure situations. All right. How are we doing? Are we all right? Let's do some listener questions. The first question is, do you have any summer concerts planned? And to be honest with you, no, I have 0 summer concerts planned. However, I'm sure I will go to some, but that's just how I kind of roll. If you haven't picked up on this, I'm a very type B person. Like almost, is there another letter that's beyond type B? I don't know. Cause I'm not a planner per se. Interesting. I'm just not a big planner. And so something will come up and I'll have a friend be like, hey, so-and-so is playing at whatever. You want to go? And I'm like, yeah. And usually it's someone who I know who's on the tour or is like working on the tour or playing on the tour and they're coming through my area. So they'll be like, do you want to come to the show? And I'm like, yeah, I do. But I don't really plan to go to a lot of concerts. If there were one that I would plan and go to, I would go to the Morgan Wallen, Ella Langley show. I just like them. I think it'd be a fun show. But I also don't really like to go to a big, huge crowd like that. So I probably won't do that. Anyway, are you going to any summer concerts? Okay, this is the next question. Since you said anything is on the table, what's on your kitchen table? Oh, when I asked you for questions, I said anything's on the table. So you want to know what's on my kitchen table. Okay, that's a great question. I don't really eat at my kitchen table. Like I'm one of those people who doesn't use it for what it's actually for. So on my kitchen table, there's a lamp. There's like a basket that has all of like my important stuff I need, whether it's like, my checkbook and mail that I need to keep out or something. It's like stuff like that. It's organized, but it's on my kitchen table. Does that bug you? It might bug, it would bug some people. And then just whatever random thing I put there on any given day, it does become sort of like the place that collects things. But I try to keep it not like that because that kind of drives me crazy. I would have never thought to ask that question, but I appreciate that you did. All right, one more question. What annoys you most about people and what do you love most about them? Okay, are we talking about people in general or specific people? So I'm going to go in general. I'm going to start with what I love most about people because I feel like I've been trending to the negative here and I'm just aware of that. And I don't want to just sit here and rant about what annoys me about people. I will get to it because, of course, everyone has things that annoy them about people. But let's start with the positive. The thing that I love most about people is just their little tiny quirks. Like the people who I love the most in my life, the things that I love about them are the weird things about them. Do you know what I mean? Like, let me think of some examples. I have a friend that I've been friends with forever, and she is like the slowest person to get ready. She doesn't do like makeup. She's not like really into style or clothing. It's not like takes a long time to get ready because of that. She just is slow to get ready. And like, I love that about her. I don't know why. It's just like makes me laugh when I think we'll be like, oh, so-and-so, I'm not going to drop her name here. But like, you better shower first because you take the longest to ever get ready. Or another person like who falls asleep at every movie. Like no matter what we're doing, if we're going to watch a show, a movie, anything, even if it's the best thing ever, she's guaranteed going to fall asleep. I love that about her because it's memorable, because it's quirky and unique and it's like cute. I don't know. It's just, I love getting to know the little weird things about people, you know? One of my best friends, he loves Harry Potter and I make so much fun of him. Like he's a grown man and he loves Harry Potter like to the max. And I always made fun of him for that. Now I like Harry Potter. Like I finally read the books. I never read them as a kid. I read them like a few years ago. But I just love that about him. Like it's just so funny. I don't know. He's such a nerd about it. And I love that, you know? So I just think little things about people that make them unique. That's what I love about people. Like, yeah, I love when people are kind and I love when people are funny. I do love funny people. That's probably also what I love about people. But I think I love the little unique things about the people in my life, not the great qualities they have. It's just those little things that make them them. So that's a great question. I like that. And what annoys me most about people? Probably it's when people don't really listen. Like if you're having a conversation and you can tell they really just want to get to their answer or like to talk about themselves. That annoys me because I'm like, well, then why am I talking? It's not that I need to be heard, but don't ask me something if you're not really going to listen. It should be like an equal thing back and forth. I learn about you, you learn about me, that sort of thing. So I think that's probably what annoys me most about people is if I feel like they're just not listening. Is that a good one? I don't know. I didn't think about this before, but that's what comes to mind. And also, I guess if they just do like gross things, like eat with their mouth open or like clip their nails in public or stuff like that. That would be another thing that annoys me. Okay. Thanks for those questions, guys. Keep sending them. Keep sending them in. I like interacting with you. All right. It's that time for the Jill Pill. The Jill Pill for today is kind of simple, but it comes from me thinking about these obscure holidays and celebrating. Like, you know, we were celebrating Cinco de Mayo. I don't even know what we're celebrating, like I said. But my Jill Pill for you is this. Celebrate. Like that's literally it. Celebrate things in life because there's a lot to like mourn and grieve and there's a lot to be nervous and anxious about. And there's a lot to celebrate too. But we often celebrate the big things, you know, weddings and birthdays, anniversaries, like big significant job promotions and big things like that. But celebrate little things too. You can celebrate that it's just like a beautiful day and like go out and take a walk or celebrate that your car passed inspection. You know, like it doesn't have to be a graduation. We're in the season of like, it's Mother's Day and it's graduation and it's, you know, all these things. But I don't know, just find little things to celebrate too. Because I think celebrating anything is a good way to just bring more joy into your life. So I don't know, celebrate someone you love, celebrate something you did yourself, an achievement that you've been wanting to do. Maybe you finished a project at work or you went for a long run that you've been trying to do. I don't know, just celebrate. And you don't have to like get crazy with it, but take a moment and mark that celebration, whatever it might be. Okay? Thank you guys for being with me this week. I appreciate it. You can find me at JiPi Music on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the places. And takeajillpill.com. You can send me questions there too if you want. I hope you have a great week. I hope you celebrate the big things and the little things. And until next time, be good. Take a Jill Pill. Bye.